Well, hello there, people of the matriarchy and people who can't afford to join the matriarchy but love listening to the History Hyenas with Chrissy Salmons and Yannis Peanut Head.
Yeah, we figured out some really wild things about each other over the weekend. I figured out that Yannis is 100% just a game and some form of entertainment for the simulators, because make no mistake, he has got a big brain but a small head. He's got a big appetite but a small mouth. He's got deep vision but he can't see. And he's got big balls and a small piece.
Cause you need to really get yourself an Alexa or whatever, Siri, whatever you want to do. I'm not trying to pick favorites here or give anyone any free advertising.
Or Google Mini, Google Home.
Google Home, whatever. And check the fucking weather. Because make no mistake, it is raining outside and you're wearing a fucking real leather, you piece of shit. It's a waste.
Is real leather, does rain damage real leather? I've never had real leather. I'm a Puerto Rican from Ridgewood.
Lynn, I'm trying, if you listen, I'm trying with all my heart to pull your son into a barbershop where they don't shave a part into his head. I'm trying.
Make no mistake, there was a lot of family drama this weekend, and Lynn and Aunt Eileen had a few bros.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Zach is back in full effect. All it takes is him fucking up the audio once and having all the hyenas come after him, and that kid got himself another iPad with all the soundboards.
Yeah, Zach, you feel good today, Jihadi, with the body?
I feel great.
Yeah, dude. You're a fucking 23-year-old kid that doesn't know anything.
This sounds a little...
It is what it is.
It sounds a little hollow. Is there something wrong with it, or it sounds fine? Audio's fine.
Here, it's probably the mic on next to you now. It'll be good.
Cuz, what year were you born, Zachy?
He still sounds hollow.
95.
You were born in 95, so we're going to talk about today the 1992 LA riots. You weren't even born yet. Giannis was in graduate school already.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
How crazy is that to think that he was not even born for the O.J. Simpson trial? Were you?
No, 96 was OJ. He was 1 year old.
He was 1 year old.
Did you get a haircut, by the way, before we started?
No, I did. It was
because
just
your head looks smaller.
Because it's raining out and it mats my hair down.
Your head looks smaller because you have a Beetlejuice head. It's what it is.
Because we've said it many times and we'll say it again. Between me and you, we were meant to be together because between us, we have a normal size head.
We have a normal size head and a normal size butt because you have no butt and I have a lunch lady ass.
And between us, we have 3 normal tits.
Yeah. Yep, that's what it is.
There's just one odd tit that doesn't belong on the planet.
And it's mine.
Yeah, you have a tit that doesn't belong to a human. Somehow it got sewed onto your body by an orangutan.
100%. And if you guys check my Instagram, I'll post it up. I'll post it on History Hyenas. The shoes, the low-top Merrells that you wear, make no mistake, are being worn right now by a 65-year-old woman with special needs.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
They are comfortable, slip them on, dog walking shoes.
Because you are depressed. You're a depressed kid.
You say that every episode, but I am not depressed.
Because make no mistake.
Because I'm not the one who just went into a wine store and got a bottle of wine yesterday.
Because make no mistake, I wrote on your fiance's Instagram that her mom was a piece, and she sent me a text and told me to erase it now.
Yeah,
and she is furious.
I mean, how...
Did she tell you?
No.
She texted me and said...
How stupid are you? I mean, how stupid are you? And then we were sitting watching the game yesterday, and you started talking about fumes in front of my fiance. My fiance doesn't play any of that shit. She's not a comedian or an animal.
It's what it is.
How fucking stupid are you?
She sent me a text. Obviously, you're going to be deleting that comment. Thank you. And I wrote back, thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you got no response.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was serious.
She's Sicilian.
Yeah.
And she's just mad at me.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
It's just what it is. I may not even be invited to the wedding anymore.
That was a big mistake, and you knew better, and you knew it when you were typing it, and I don't know why you did it.
You want to know why I did it? 'Cause
Yeah.
I had to film something at 1 o'clock today. And make no mistake, it was called a wine walk with Liz Gonzalez on Barstool Sports. It should be coming out, or maybe it's out by now. And we drank wine, and I had a Claret & D this morning because my allergies were kicking up. And when I have a Claret & D and a little glass of wine, I get buzzed. So I was buzzed commenting on Instagram photos.
Because
It's just what it is. I'm Hyena.
you're a woman.
100%. I truly believe that when I die, I'd like an autopsy to be done because I don't think that I have eggs, but I do believe I have a uterus.
No, here's the deal. You are just 100%
A woman?
a woman.
Why?
Because...
Am I a toot?
Huh?
Am I a toot?
You're not a toot, but James Matter's mom's a toot.
James Madden's mom's a toot.
It is what it is.
She's a real toot.
She's an actual toot.
She was an actual prostitute who received money for sexual favors, and James's father is a John.
Is it John? And make no mistake, when that happens,
funny
you're,
is that?
you're gonna have a son. You're gonna have a son who just every time he eats some of his fingers off. He's never put food in his mouth and not licked his fingers.
It's just kind of gross to watch him eat, and
Yeah.
it's just what it is.
He eats like a 3-year-old.
Yeah,
What
but-
are you looking for right now?
Because I'm looking for the notes that we wrote down because constantly we're saying funny stuff, and I
Oh, yeah,
want to know
well,
why
well,
you're a woman.
Well, I already said.
But it's after fucking 3 pages of emails about your life. So anyway, I remember it's because of this. Yesterday I was watching you ordered a salmon and a salad
Yes.
and a vodka soda.
Yeah.
That's like hanging out with a fucking college girl.
Yeah.
What
Yo!
what college girl, what kid who has the size of head that you gets a vodka soda? Because the people who get vodka sodas are worried about calories.
I live a new life now where I've sent you pictures of it every morning. I cook for myself now. So this morning I made some oatmeal. Yesterday
Look at who's all grows up.
protein pancakes. And yesterday, because I'm trying to get my LDL cholesterol down, I said I need some omega-3, so I got a salmon and a side salad, and I got a vodka soda because beer bloats.
Yeah, that's what girls say.
That's what girls say. Yes.
Now, why don't you tell the matriarchy and
And the people who want to listen but not join the matriarchy because they're
Correct.
fucking toots.
because they're toots.
I'm just going to say this
Call them
publicly.
toots, yeah.
If you're listening to the podcast right now and you're not a part of a matriarchy, look in the mirror and say these words. I am a toot.
You're a fucking toot, and you probably got toots on your feet.
You got, yeah.
It was very funny when you called my shoes toots.
Toots. Yeah, because sometimes you come out, because I've never seen anyone be more of a flip-flop. Sometimes he will come out with $750 shoes on, and comes out with basically pieces on his feet. And then some days, like today, he came out with low-top Merrells, and it's looking like his toes are covered in toots. He's got toot shoes and pea shoes.
Guys,
It's what it is, because you're an anomaly, and you just don't. It's just funny to watch you in action because you have all of these, ironies about you.
just tell the people, like we were about to say, what your new diet plan is.
My new first of all, I have a couple of new things that I'm doing. My new way of life is now one day I'm going to watch TV and the next day I'm just going to read books. So every other day. So today I watch TV. So tomorrow when I wake up, I'm not going to put on the TV. I'm not going to do anything. Maybe I'll check, the apps in the morning and that's it. But then I'm just going to sit and read a book until it's time for me to do anything instead of just zoning out watching TV. And as far as food goes, one day I'm going to have 500 calories or less, and the next day I'm just going to eat what I want. And it's just going to keep going.
So that's the new thing. Just
That's the new thing.
One day starve yourself. One day eat too much.
And every day I'm just going to stay in the weight room and get jacked.
That's what you're gonna do, right?
Yeah.
And you and you do cardio because you can't find a parking spot. So that makes you jog. You have to
Exactly.
jog every day to your car.
But today
It's just what it is.
It's just what it is. But today I was going to jog, but I ate my oatmeal and drank my water too fast, so I had a stomach ache, so I power walked.
Yeah. Well, when you were texting me before, I ordered from Fuel.
Wow.
And I got myself a barbecue chicken wrap and some air baked fries.
How was that?
Well, I was so hungry because I'd gone so long without eating that I was choking so bad that I was crying. My eyes were watering so bad, and I actually thought maybe I had finally done it, and I was gonna die in my living room.
Really?
I couldn't even get the water down. Yeah, so I had my arms up in the air, crying. Yeah, I can't. Get so hungry I don't chew.
Does that make you nervous when it finally went down? Was your heart beating like rapidly?
I was
fast?
nervous and I started to think I'm just gonna die. But then I was actually thinking this is gonna be hilarious.
Yeah,
It'll be a hilarious way to die.
because it would be one of the funniest things ever for me to be the one to find your body with you dead, covered around air baked potato fries with the Mauricio wig on.
Yeah.
That would be if you just were making a video and got hungry and just put the phone down and that's how you went out. Yeah. I would tweet out that pic and it would go viral. And I would just sell out theaters based off History Hyena fans in your honor. And that's what it is.
How funny would that be if I died? If I died choking on a barbecue chicken wrap.
It would. I cannot think of anything funnier.
How do you think you're gonna die?
Either I'm going to.
Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to just go?
I'm either going to get killed by a Dominican toot.
Yeah. No.
One of those. I'm
though.
going to get killed by a some type of Latina toot.
You're gonna get killed by a thoughts boyfriend who comes home. And
Yeah.
it's what it is, and part of the reason
Frankie
why.
tank tops.
Yeah. Because you can't be saying people's real fucking things, cuz.
It's what it is.
You gotta stop, cuz. You gotta stop. You gotta stop, cuz. All right? He's a dangerous kid.
Yeah. Edit that part out.
Yeah.
It will not be edited out.
It will not be edited out. I mean, we should just take the history out and go full-blown hyena. Because, I said singular, full-blown hyena, because it's you.
Yeah.
You're the crazy one.
Yeah. Because you're drinking a smoothie right now and it's pissing me off.
So, cuz what's going to happen is you're going to be banging out a toot.
Right?
An absolute thought toot.
Right.
And she's going to invite you over at a certain time because her boyfriend not been treating her good.
Yeah.
Right? So she wanted you to come over, right? She's attracted to you anyway. She hit you up with a little, after the Giants lost, she DM'd you on the Snapchat with a picture of her in panties and a half Giant shirt on, says, "Does this make it better, Daddy?" And you said, "Yeah." And she said, "Can you come all the way to Starrick City right now?"
Starrick City.
And you said,
No fumes.
And you said, "I got 10 spots, but let me cancel them right now because I got the butterflies and my blood pressure's up and my heart's beating and let's go."
Yeah.
So you drive all the way in the rain to Starrick City. You get there, right? She lives on the first floor, which means not only does she live in Starrick City, which is rent-controlled
It's not
apartment.
Starrick, it's Starrick.
Starrick
You keep
City.
saying Starrick because you're a dumb Greek.
They don't know. Most people aren't from New York who listen to this. This is a fucking Long Island podcast.
Yeah, they don't know. Chris the teacher doesn't know.
Because we are a Long Island and Jersey podcast.
It's what it is.
Cuz?
Bridge and Tunnel podcast.
Yeah. So her apartment's on the first floor, which is probably the lowest priced rent-controlled apartment
100%.
in Starrick City.
Yeah.
So, right? So you're down there right there. And she invited you over at that time and banged you out, right?
So I will bang her out.
You're going to be banging her out. Raw D. Yeah.
What it is.
It's what it is.
Chrissy Chlamydia.
Chrissy Chlamydia, Chrissy Salmons, Chrissy Go, right?
Yeah.
So, and the reason she invited you over at that time is because her boyfriend had been cheating on her and ignoring her and not treating her right, and they got a kid together, and she wanted to really show him some attention, right?
Right.
And so he comes in, and of course he gets jealous. That's what her plan was. And then you are an innocent bystander in a domestic violence incident, and you die in a first-floor studio in Starrett City on the floor. It's what it is.
And it's what it is. And as long as after I'm gone, you make sure Delilah's dating the right guys, I don't care.
Wei Songxian.
We went pretty far without a Wei Zhongxin. Yeah,
We went 14 minutes into the podcast without one Wei Zhongxian.
we might have broke a record right there for not needing a Wei Zhongxin.
By the way, I just want to let the matriarchy know and the toots who haven't paid for the matriarchy, we are going to be making T-shirts. One is going to be Wei Shanxian, one's going to be Ann Eileen. We're going to be making those two T-shirts. Those are coming soon. Ann Eileen T-shirts and Wei
because
Zhongxian.
I want an Aunt Eileen T-shirt.
You want an Ann Eileen T-shirt?
And I want to see Aunt Eileen's feet.
I'm going to put her feet on.
She has 6 toes?
I'm going to make the eye in Eileen a foot.
Because does she have 6 toes?
I don't know. Probably.
Oh, you said she had 6 toes on another episode.
Oh, yeah, she does have 6 toes. Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's how you're going to pass away.
How do you think you're going to go down? You think you're going to die?
Well, that's up for you to tell me, but I first wanted to go, what do you mean by just want to make sure that Delilah's dating the right guys? Do you mean a guy who...
I just mean a guy who maybe played lacrosse in high school.
微上吸引
Do you mean a guy who possibly calls his dad father?
Yes.
微上吸引
Yeah, I just want a guy who maybe doesn't think getting... I just want a guy who maybe thinks getting 18-inch spinners on his wheels is a bad idea.
微上吸引
Do you
微上吸
do you
引
think maybe you just want her to date a guy who doesn't wear any gold around his neck, but instead has a rope McNamara bracelet on?
Yes. I want a guy who's not going to have to, every time he leaves the house, have his hat match his sneakers.
微上吸引
We could just keep doing that segment and just call it Wei Xiong
Wei
Ching.
Xiong and the Wei Xiong segment.
So
To
how am I
see
gonna-
how bad it can get.
Yeah, we'll just do a segment called Wei Xiong Xin. Well, will we do stuff?
Because
How am I gonna die,
On a
guys?
serious note, well, just real quick, and I'll tell you, on a serious note, though, it's good. White people will be the minority by 2044, and it's just good that my daughter's Puerto Rican, and I'm encouraged. I want her to date Puerto Rican, Black, Indian, whatever. I don't want her to mix any white because when we are the minority, I just want to be on the right team, on the winning team, because I'm white. So I don't want to be white after 2044. So I'm hoping that my daughter is going to have a very mixed family by then.
Is that what it is? 2044?
They said 2044 if we continue. I guess there may even be sooner, but by 2044, mathematically, with the way minority people now reproduce, yeah, that's what it is, and how whites don't reproduce as quickly.
Yeah.
You're gonna die. I think you're probably gonna. It's gonna be something food related. I think
Okay.
you'll probably choke. Choking is the most likely way that you're gonna die. I also think
You don't think it'll be with a tranny toot?
it could be with a tranny toot like Dwight Howard. And it could be, but I think it's either going to be choking on food, or I think actually you're going to be the guy because you have no health problems at all. You're going to live to like 105 years old, and you're just going to end your own life.
Yeah.
I think you'll commit suicide at about 105.
Because you would have been gone by that point by about 60 years.
Yeah, I would have been a
So
long...
my life's going to be boring.
You would have had someone else who lived a full life as your friend who replaced me by then, and that guy would have already been 80.
Being your friend is exciting.
It's exciting. You don't know what's coming next.
You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. You just kind of, you get the first text and it's cuz I got to take this person to ballet classes. I also want to get a coffee, but I got to leave in 10 minutes and my car's on 96th Street. I'll come jog to meet you. I can hang out for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Wild
I need pancakes. I'm on keto. I got to work out and I'm doing aerobics with Anthony at 4 and playing ball with Fozzie.
It is what it is.
It's not far from the truth that you plan like 16 things and then you go, oh, I forgot. I got to go in for 1:30 to do a ballet podcast.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Am I a busy kid?
You,
But
are,
I'm an unnecessarily busy kid.
sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's unnecessary. You're a kid who you like to get the heart pumping a little faster.
Yeah, I like to get the most out of a day.
What's the thing that motivates you the most, you think? Because I know what it is.
The most
People are wired differently. And you're wired for your day. The thing that makes you happy is when you get your heart rate up.
So I would say other than
And then it's hilarious because you get your heart rate up and then you get scared that your heart rate's up.
Yeah.
And you'll go into a Rite Aid and check your own blood pressure and go, why is my blood pressure like this? And I can give you a list of 16 reasons why.
Yeah. I would say the most motivating things for me are definitely ice cream and puss. But yeah. But yeah, I would say that. I used to be motivated a lot by playing basketball, and I'm motivated by my career and making sure Delilah just acknowledges one half of her ethnicity and not the other half.
微上吸引
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Obviously, I was kidding. I want her to embody both of them because it's good. It's good when you're mixed like that, especially Latina and white. It's a good mix.
But let's just be honest. You hope that Delilah comes home with a Chinese kid. With a Chinese kid, you have no worries because nobody wants to fuck that kid.
Yeah.
I need a Wei Xiongxing there.
Yeah.
Wei Song Xi
If I could pick Delilah's boyfriend, he would be a Chinese or Japanese, for sure.
Can we get another Wei Xiongxing for the
Wei Song Xi
insensitive accent?
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Because we are making up for the first 14 minutes.
Yeah, because
we were
we had no Wei Shanxians in 14 minutes, and we've had 13 in 6 minutes.
I like the way you just said Chinese or Japanese. You just took the S's and because all you gotta do is really say half the word to have the accent.
That's
right?
what it is. It's
Hello.
Chinese, Japanese, or Korea.
Yeah, Korea, Japanese, Halle.
Yeah, and that's not making fun of them. It's
Wei
just how they
Songxian.
talk. Like if you want to make fun of my accent, I'm not stereotyping. It's just what they sound like, and that's okay because they could speak English and their language. I can barely even speak English.
It'll be okay to do that accent. How Mandarin sounds. Chinese people who speak Mandarin as a first language, or whatever other dialect from China, and then come to America and start speaking English. They usually sound like that. That'll be okay until I guess Ronnie Chang decides that he wants to make a documentary.
Yeah.
saying that you can't do that anymore.
Ron, yeah.
I'm trying to think who else it could be. Ronnie Chang or who else? Is there another Asian?
Ali
Wong.
Ali
Yeah.
Wong, Ronnie Chang.
Yeah.
But,
I'm gonna do.
Ali Wong is very American. Ronnie Chang a speaker like this.
Wei Song Xi
But Ronnie Chang is make no mistake, Ronnie Chang is a fucking star sensation in Australia, and he's soon to be a star in the U.S. And he's a good friend of mine, and he knows kung fu.
Yeah.
He does.
Does he for real know kung fu?
No, I swear to God. Yeah, he's like or some martial art.
Because
you don't fuck with a guy like Ronnie Chang. You're the one that taught me that when you're Asian guys, you got to look at the way they walk and the flexibility in their hips. You could tell how much hip rotation and gyration they have. Yeah. They could throw a fucking roundhouse kick, and Ronnie could throw a kick.
I can always tell by looking at a guy's walk and how he carries himself how much of a nightmare it would be to fight him.
Yeah, and you always look at white guys. You look at their ears. If they got the cauliflower ear, it's just you walk away.
Yeah, anyone's got the cauliflower. You walk away.
Yeah, of course, any ethnicity.
The wild thing is, in 1992,
yes,
talking about Asians, Koreans
yes,
were under fire because the African American community and the Korean community were at each other's throats.
They were at each other's throats because of a senseless murder in 92 where a Korean grocery store worker shot a 15-year-old black girl in the back of the head because she thought she was stealing, and she was not. And she and then she got convicted of the crime, but the whole thing is the judge, instead of giving her 16 years in prison, which is what she should have done because it was murder, she gave her time served and community service.
That was
fucking wild. The only positive thing I'll say about that whole time period is that during the LA riots, there was a time where the Chinese were insane.
Wei Song Xi
that was horrible to see.
Okay, now we're talking 1992.
Los Angeles riots.
So you were
8 years old.
You were
I was born in 1984.
So you were 8 years old. You were born in 84.
16. You remember this vividly. I don't remember it.
You were 8 years old. So you weren't actually that young.
I was in second grade, so I wasn't.
But you couldn't grok what was going on.
Yeah, I remember the OJ verdict in '96. Yeah. I remember where I was. I remember Miss Vicky Agron telling us in after school program that OJ was found not guilty, and it's a crime because he's a murderer.
Yeah,
and because
let's be honest, in Ridgewood there was a few fuzzy wet and
yeah. It's just what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, there was just some rant. Yeah, the people weren't happy, right? People in your neighborhood thought OJ was guilty.
I think there was some. Yeah, I think
you went a few blocks into Bushwick, he was innocent. You went a few blocks into Ridgewood, he was guilty.
Yeah,
that's just what Brooklyn was back then, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
in '96, it already started changing, but it was the very.
But that actually, because the Rodney King was brutal, which we'll talk about. Of course, that was brutal. But the Korean woman shooting that girl was actually awful.
Okay,
I mean, she shot her in the back of the head.
That happened first.
No. That didn't happen first. Rodney King happened first in March of '92.
I don't think so.
Okay, Zach,
I don't think so.
Can you find out for Peanut Head?
Yeah, I don't think so. This was, I don't think so. We're gonna look it up real quick. Here we go. Which was first? Which one of the three of us is going to get to this first live on air?
Hold on. I'm going to find it right now. LA Riot.
I'm pretty sure that was first. I'm pretty sure.
By the way, I just Googled LA Riots Korean guns, and the thing that pops up is Gook, a Korean American LA Riots film. Is that a real film?
I
That's
guess
called
so.
Gook?
I guess
So
so.
the
We gotta watch
the Korean woman shooting. Her name was Latasha Harlins.
Yep.
I believe,
Latasha
What
Harlins.
was that?
in 1991, and
Yeah.
the Rodney King was in 1992.
Yeah.
Again, the Robo Cheese Man is correct.
Yeah.
So that one was bad. So, listen, I was a teenager when this happened.
Yes, yeah. I don't
I
remember.
was, this was 91. I was
Nin-
15, 16 years old
Yeah.
at this time.
Were you already getting puss?
I was with I remember I was with my girlfriend, Nikki Rice.
Who banged out Mark Wahlberg?
God
damn it, that's what
it is!
How, we just have to.
Well, why did you say her name? You should have just said my ex-girlfriend. I would have said the one who banged out Mark Wahlberg. That's for you!
Wild!
So, we
What it is!
it's what it is. None of that's true. It's just Chrissy going wild. See how I fixed it? I could just say none of it's true and they don't know who to believe.
Yes!
Wild!
You're yeah.
26-18. Guess whose butt? Guess that
Because
butt.
they know. I'm telling you, all your farts sound like they're happening in a well.
It's what it is.
At the bottom of a well.
I got well ass.
Yeah, you are like Precious in Silence of the Lambs. That's how your farts sound. They sound like you're down there with the poodle.
We have to hurry up and get through the LA riots before we get kicked out of the studio by Amy Schumer.
Yeah, what does she got to do? She got to
She's
come
got
up
to do
here
a video
and-
conference or something like that.
with the media about.
I don't know, but fuck the patriarchy.
But what do you think what is she doing? She's doing a video conference about what? She's pregnant now.
Yeah,
So
I
what
don't know. I don't
happened?
say anything.
Me neither. You never know.
It is what it is.
You never know if there's cameras and microphones in here.
There might be.
There might be.
But yeah, so let's just get through it.
I
just
saw
in
her
case we have
sitting
to abruptly leave.
downstairs.
I know, I did too, and I said hello.
Yeah. What did she go? She went, "Hi."
Hi. Well, no, I waved quickly.
Yeah.
I'm friends with Amy.
Yeah. You're a white male. So watch your step.
I'm a straight white male. Gross.
Watch your fucking step. So this incident in 92. So I was 16, 17 years old. I remember, dude, at the time, this was like, we had already gone through the Crown Heights riots.
Right.
Which we'll do another episode about that. Crown Heights riots
Right.
was major race riots.
Right.
Howard Beach, all these things. We're going to do an episode about each one of these things, which
Yeah.
back then in the 90s,
Yeah.
before the internet, that was the news. It consumed New York
Yeah.
for a year or 2 years.
Yes.
Central Park 5, Central Park rape. I mean, there was certain Bernard Goetz. There was certain cases that kind of encapsulated the zeitgeist of that time, the pressing issues of that time, and it all culminated in like one famous case. And you can look at that throughout the 90s and the 80s. There's always one thing that kind of
Right.
represented a big problem that the city of New York was going through. When you were in New York back in the day, you wouldn't hear much about what was going on in Cleveland or LA.
Yeah.
It was just, so when something like this was like national
New York
news.
stories and LA stories were the national stories.
They were, but you would barely hear them because your newscast was local news.
Right.
There was no CNN.
No, but I'm asking you, in Cleveland in the 90s, you think all they would hear, but they would hear a lot about what's happening in New York or LA.
They might hear. They would hear more about that than we would hear about,
I see. Yeah.
Some guy,
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, a kid Castro who had those girls locked in the
Yeah.
basement. That probably wouldn't have been news in the 80s in New York.
Which is fucking nuts.
Until somebody wrote a book about it or something like that.
Now, let me ask you this. In 1991, when all this was happening, 92, especially like when the race riots started to come, because they mainly happened in LA, but I'm sure they came here to the East Coast, to New York, because you looked like a young Puerto Rican when you were a teenager. Did you face any injustices? Because if I'd like, can you post that picture you sent of me? Can
I
you
can post
it on
all
the
those
Patreon?
pictures.
Because you truly look like a young Puerto Rican, like upstart barber. That's what you look like. I mean, you had the exact look. You look like your name was Ramon, but everyone called you Raul for some stupid reason.
Yeah, I had like that dirty little mustache and the hair shaved down. I grew up in an era where like rap was starting. Rap started in the 70s. It was everyone was into hip hop, and that's what it was. My childhood, I grew up on hip hop, and every white kid just wanted to be black. including me. I just
Yeah.
wanted to be black.
Right.
Like when I went to school and people were like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And a lot of kids said, I want to be a dentist. I want to be a doorman. I want to be
Yeah.
a doctor. I said I wanted to be Kwame.
That's who you
I
wanted
wanted to be Big Daddy
You
Kane.
want to be Why Sean?
Do you know who Big Daddy Kane is?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because you were born like when he was 40.
It's what it is.
It's
What did Damien Schroeder want to be?
Because you and the real names are wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
You said your girlfriend's name.
Yeah, and then you went on to say details about her life.
Yeah. Because we have to get through the LA riots. They're fascinating.
I know, we're trying to get there, but
Before we get kicked out by Amy Schumer.
what time do what time do we get till?
Well, it's 4:15 right now.
Yeah.
They said that she'll probably need the studio at 5:30, so that means in about
We have a
20
lot
minutes
of
we'll
time.
be kicked out so they can clean it and disinfect it. But she can't walk in.
It's true.
She can't walk into a studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
And they
true.
have to get they have to cater. They have to do
It's
all
like
these things.
it's like the Men in Black crew comes in first and like
Yeah.
sweeps everything up.
Yeah.
And what do they put out? Like glasses of wine, whatever she likes,
Absolutely.
cheese.
Yep.
Whatever she's into.
You know, the heads
couple
of her
volumes.
servants,
Yeah. It's a couple.
A couple of human people. A couple of human beings have to be sacrificed. It's just what it is.
It's just what it is.
It's for the good of feminism, and it's just what Gloria Steinem said. It's the only way is that just the blood of a few straight white men are just going to have to be sprinkled.
White straight white men.
Straight white men are just going to have to be sprinkled onto our great new female leaders, and it's just what it is.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting time, man, because I remember feeling like we were all in New York. Everyone was thinking, like, is this going to spread? Like, we were thinking, like, because it happened. And we'll cover this as well. You know, the Watts riots. This has
That
happened.
happened in the 60s.
Happened
the
in
one.
the 60s, 70s. So, riots all over the place. So you were thinking, is this going to happen in New York? And back then, we all lived together, man. New York was a city where you just saw people.
Right.
It wasn't like those other cities where you could just stay in Beverly Hills and then there was like an army protecting you. Like New Yorkers
We're on top of each other.
we're on top
still are.
Yeah, we're on top of each other, and we're right next door to each other. Like Ridgewood and Bushwick, it's just right there.
Yeah.
The Bronx, the Bronx Tale, that movie's based on. Hey, you go past a certain avenue or a certain block.
We have way different views.
Yeah, it's just way different views, but you're right next to each other, and you tolerate each other,
Right.
and you live together, and you see each other.
Right.
So, in a lot of ways, even though New York is very racist and was very racist, we're the most progressive city just by virtue of the fact of the way New York is set up.
Proximity.
Yeah, just the
Yeah.
way it's set up and set up to be a city, an old city that you
I-
walk.
It's almost it's not impossible. Racism is not impossible, but it's very difficult to be racist here because whatever group you hate, you will see them every single day you walk around the city. It's easier to be racist in a place where like you may not see the group you hate for months and months and months. Here it's like you can't whatever group if you hate transgender Eskimos, you will see them.
I agree with you. But just as an addendum to that point, I guess a side point, piggybacking off that, that's the best way to say it, is if you are really racist.
Yeah.
Because, if you think about that, the people like in the South and all these areas where they don't see other people who them hate, you can't say they're really racist. It's just that they've made stuff up in their head because they've never encountered a Jewish person or a Latin person or a black person, whatever it may be. But if you're in New York and you truly hate Jews,
Right.
then you're really racist.
You have to be
because you've
racist.
met Jews.
Now look, I've told you
So
this many times.
hats off to you. You're real racist.
I've told you this many times because I grew up extremely Catholic, Christian Catholicism. I went to Catholic school my whole life. I never really traveled outside of Ridgewood.
Chrissy Steakums. You grew up eating Steakums.
Chrissy Steakums.
I know the type.
I didn't meet my first real Jewish person until I got to graduate school when I was 23. And all I had heard from like my mom and my aunts and my family is that like Jews, they live in the other side of Brooklyn. They have sex through sheets and they suck the blood out of their kids' penises when they're circumcised. And those are just things that we heard.
Yeah.
And like they run around.
That is so crazy that you did. For people who don't live in New York, you don't understand how wild that is. That this kid grew up in New York City and didn't meet a Jew until recently.
Yeah, I never went to a bar mitzvah or a bar mitzvah. I never went to any of them. I never had any Jewish friends.
Yeah.
All I did was go to communions, confirmations.
Yeah, you were just Because you're supposed to be working for the city. It's
I just ordered it.
Yeah.
Like the city almost feels like they lost something. Like, oh, this guy was perfect to be garbage man, cop, fireman.
You would have been cracking up all the guys when you were eating lunch on the subway tracks.
Yeah.
You would have been that guy. You
Yeah.
know? You would have been talking with your Subway sandwich, you know?
Yeah.
Talking about a girl who had fumes the other night.
Yeah.
And they would have loved Chrissy Cackles.
Yeah, but I would have gotten hit by a train. It's just what it is, right?
Yeah, you probably would have got hit by a train. Yeah, because you would have probably tried to bring a girl down there to bang her in a train just to get the adrenaline rush to see if you could jump out of the way.
Electrocute myself on the third rail.
No, well, you would have got out of the way in time and you would have pulled her away, but the back of your butt would have got caught because you didn't factor in that it's about 6 inches behind your body.
Yeah.
So your butt would have got hit by the train.
It's what it is.
It's kind of what it is. That's the way you would have died if you didn't become a comedian.
Right.
But at this time, we thought the riots were going to spread. I remember being in my girlfriend's apartment just like worrying, like, what's going to happen? It was
You're
like
a pussy. Worrying that the riots are going to spread with your girlfriend.
Dude, this is before your time. You didn't grow up in New York. There was riots 5 minutes from my house on Eastern Parkway. That's right where I grew up. That's where the Crown Heights riots happened.
But make no mistake, you were sitting there wearing in your fucking dumb turtleneck. I know you were wearing a turtleneck.
It's possible I was wearing a turtleneck. I did go to a prep school that you had to wear a turtleneck or a tie.
It's what it is.
It's what it is.
Yeah, because the 1986 Crown Heights riot, somebody should do a doc on that. Maybe there is one about it because those were wild too.
Yeah.
More people died in those, right? Didn't people actually die in Crown Heights?
Not many. People actually died. Well,
people actually died in L.A., I'm sorry.
The Crown riot, people, we're talking about, I think, 63. Is that right, Caliphate? 63 people, I think, died in the L.A. riots, and I think thousands were injured. It was
63. Right.
63 people died.
2,383 injured.
In the 90s riots or the 60s?
No, 92.
92 riots. Wow.
92. And
that's a lot of people.
That's
63?
a lot of people, dude. Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
And the injuries were bad. I mean, so this is what happened. I mean, I know you guys have heard of it, but I was a fully, I had hair on my dick when this happened.
Right. Well, you had hair on your dick when you were 3. You're Greek.
I'm a Greek.
Greek.
That's true. So, because you're a funny kid.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
It's what it is.
Just to compare, the Crown Heights riot had 2 deaths and 190 injuries.
Yeah, and that's what caused the Crown Heights. We're going to do a full nother episode, so let's not talk about the Crown.
Oh, we're not, okay.
We'll get into
We're just going to talk about L.A.
That's a whole nother episode.
All right.
But it's worth bringing up because it gives you kind of the spirit of the times. It was tense. Back then, you're coming out of the Jim Crow era, 60s racism. There was hangings happening in the 60s. I mean, there was segregation and people were getting hanged in the 60s, man.
Oh, my God.
So it's like the 70s happen and there's anger and then you're getting into the 80s and that's when this shit starts to really bubble over in the 80s and then late 90s. But, it's just anger. I mean, there's anger and there's all these new immigrants, Koreans, who all back then every Korean had an accent because they just got here. They didn't have a chance to have kids yet. Same things with South Asians. They all sounded like a poo, and everyone's coming here. That's when they came here, and they're opening all these businesses in black neighborhoods. Do the right thing. You can see the tension between the Korean grocers and the black community. The black community feeling like these Korean business owners were taking advantage of the community, taking money out of it, and they only wanted to support black businesses. There was things like Black Watch that used to walk around the neighborhood and just in case anyone was messing with black people.
In Brooklyn?
Yeah, man. No, this is in Brooklyn. Black Watch.
You remember?
I remember seeing them walk around. Yeah. I remember getting my ass kicked because I was white multiple times.
Where?
It just happened all over Brooklyn. It was just it was a time where it was normal to just get beat up.
Like you came home bleeding.
You just came up lumped up. You just curled up in a ball and you took blows. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, maybe that's because you were walking around with a turtleneck and Merrill's.
Not back then. It's just what was normal back then.
Right.
I'm not even exaggerating. We can do a whole nother episode on that.
Just get back to it, but I just want to especially because you have it now, so it's probably worse than you have a very punchable face, though.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like they probably wasn't even about you. They're like, this kid just looks like he was designed to hit.
They probably just wanted to see if they could actually deflate my peanut head.
Yeah. It's like when you see that small of a head, you're like, oh, I wonder if I could rip this guy's head off his body.
It looks like someone punched it many times into this small shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was molded like a clay ball.
Got a little baby head. Yeah, you look like a pencil eraser. Go ahead.
No, so that didn't cause the riot. The Korean woman, there's a video of it you can go watch. What happens is the Korean woman, nobody knows what was said, but the girl actually was like a straight A student. They had some sort of altercation. in L.A.
They thought she
in
was
her
stealing
store.
orange juice.
Thought
and
she was stealing
wasn't.
orange juice. She was about to pay for it. They got into a fight. The Korean woman grabbed her backpack, reached across, grabbed her backpack, and the black girl, what was her name again? You know, it's crazy because she's so often forgotten this.
Yeah.
But she was a major reason why these riots happened.
And she should be the most talked about because she was murdered.
She was murdered.
Rodney King,
He was
of course,
beat
is
up.
beaten, and it's horrible, but he wasn't murdered.
Yeah, exactly.
She was murdered.
Why
Why do we only know Rodney King's name?
I bet you most people, even the people who lived through this and were older when this happened, I bet you most people forgot about her. Because I got to be honest, I kind of did too. When we started researching this and stuff,
You forgot about that
I kind of
incident.
forgot about it, and I felt real fucking bad about it.
Same
Because it
with
just
me.
lets you know how easily we are manipulated by the media.
Of course.
Because the whole thing became about Rodney King.
Sure.
But this was the real, catapult for this. This is really what sparked it.
Her name was Latasha Harlins.
Latasha Harlins. It was big news when it happened, but then it just got buried by the Rodney King. They played the video over and over and over again. So there was videos of both of these. So this was like a precursor to what, and we're still going through it now, which is wild. Because before then, there wasn't all these surveillance cameras, video cameras, and that. So this was caught on the surveillance video where she grabbed her book bag and then as she's walking out after the altercation is over, the little girl's walking out, the fucking Korean grocery store owner, this woman, shoots her in the back of the head.
The back of the head. It was so disgusting to see.
Just shoots her in the back of the head as she's walking away. Let's just say she was stealing an orange juice, right?
Is that punishable by death?
By fucking execution with a bullet to the back of the head. And it was on tape. You can see it.
And then she said this. The judge said this woman's not a criminal when I look in her eyes, so I'm not going to put her in jail. I'm just going to give her community service.
We'll back up 2 steps to explain that. So
I just go wild.
You go wild. So they go to trial. She gets convicted of voluntary manslaughter,
which is not murder.
I mean, yeah. I mean, to me,
it carries 16 years of prison. Murder could have actually got the death penalty.
Yeah, I mean, you could have went second degree easily, maybe first, because you're like, did she plan that? It's like, is there a history between these two? Is this about something else? So it kind of, you could even make a possible case for murder 1, which is intention.
Yeah.
Intentionally killing somebody. But I certainly, like you said, murder 2.
Yeah,
certainly. But
yeah.
Voluntary manslaughter, she got convicted by a jury, 16 years. The judge, I guess this is California law. We got to look into that, maybe. Can you look into that?
Is that always the judge in every state? They're responsible for the sentencing?
No. That's what I want to know, because I'm sure that's probably a state-by-state thing, because the judge, like you said, said, you know what, this woman's not a threat to the community. I know a threat when I see one. She's not a threat. Who knows what the fuck that means? The fucking woman got off with probation. I mean, it's fucking wild to think about now. Imagine how wild it must have been back then. The black community going through what they go through. And come on, racism exists.
Of course.
Let's just fucking be honest.
Of course.
I mean, a lot of those cops are fucking racist.
Sure. I mean, you heard what they were saying in the video while calling them lizards and
all that
the N-word and monkeys, gorillas in the midst. It's horrible.
Yeah. So
the full punishment was she was fined $500, sentenced to 5 years of probation and 400 hours of community service.
I mean, that is crazy.
It's fucking
But
wild.
can you find out how that was able to happen with the jury convicting and her
That's a
getting
wild thing
and
to
her
ask
getting
him to
16
do.
years?
What, you're asking him to do fucking legal research
No, he
now.
can just find out real quick. He'll find out real quick. I mean, he'll Google. I mean, come on, he's a millennial. He knows how to ask Alexa questions.
Yes.
Yes. So, isn't that crazy to hear that?
Yeah.
Isn't that's a miscarriage of justice no matter which way you slice?
Oh, yeah. Here's fucking Freddie. You're cucked out right now.
Cuck the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I want to know what happened. Where's that fucking judge now?
I don't know.
I don't even remember her fucking name, but that is fucking...
Okay, so she was sentenced so clearly some bullshit went on here. She was sentenced to 10 years in state prison, and the sentence was suspended because and defendant was placed on probation under certain terms and conditions. It was a call made by the judge.
Yeah, so I guess in California you can do that then.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I wonder if you still can.
It was 10, not 16, you sure? Because I remember it being...
Sentenced to 10 years in state prison, but that was all suspended.
So 10's too little to begin with. But what the fuck is that? Pardon my cursing a lot, but I'm a little worked up, dude.
Yeah.
That is a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah.
So can you imagine being in the black community, experiencing these things? You know, and then that happens. And of course, police have a hard job, and of course, there's a crime problem in black communities because of the history of this country and family and what you know. I really believe that it's what the black community has struggled with post Jim Crow, post slavery, obviously, you know, has its roots in the history of this country and how this country abused them, for sure. But we can't just pretend like crime rates aren't high there. They are. So you got these cops and the history of this country and the problems in the black community and poverty and racism and all these things. And these people are on the front lines of this thing. So it's like a powder keg. You know there's going to be issues because a lot of these cops, let's be honest, they're not the brightest. They're underpaid. It's a dangerous job.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
There's guns all over the fucking streets.
That was going to be what I was going to say is like, you know, one thing people don't talk about, and it's not all, but like a lot of cops, you know, they're not off the chart IQ guys.
No.
And what happens with that is you have a low tolerance for frustration. You get frustrated very easy. You get all fucked up. You get your mind, you know,
It's a great point.
You make these horrible decisions. So it's a fact.
Yeah.
The lower your IQ, the more easily frustrated you are because you can't really complex think. So that's why, and so it's like I was always confused as to why cops only are required to have an associate's degree. They should be required to have higher levels of education than the rest of us because they have to make these choices under pressure.
And they should make more money.
Yeah, they should make more money.
They should make a lot more money.
But the city doesn't want, and the government doesn't want smart cops. They want brutal cops. This is what they want.
You think so?
Absolutely. Those are your best soldiers. The ones who aren't going to question you and think about, wait, what am I doing is wrong? No, they don't fucking think. Do my friends think? All my friends who are cops are fine. They don't have emotions. They don't think about anything.
Yeah.
They just go. If some of my friends who are cops, if they pull you over and the Jets just lost, you're going to get a ticket.
It is what it is.
It's just what it is. You're going to get a ticket or you may get beaten up and thrown in jail. If the Jets won, you can literally do whatever you want. If you're speeding in the school zone, you're good to go. That's how fickle it is, and it's just the truth.
Because every single one of your friends is a cop or a fireman.
Or, they're a cop or fireman, or Debo works for JetBlue.
Yeah, he's the one anomaly in there.
Yeah, well, because he's 5'1", so he, you know, he couldn't get into any of the academies.
But he's just
what it is.
He's a great kid. They're all great kids.
Oh, yeah, fucking Debo's a great fucking
and they're all smart kids. It just depends on whether the Jets win or lose, what their mood is.
That's just what it is.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
You know? Yeah, then all my friends are very intelligent, but yeah, it's just, you know, they get frustrated quick.
Just to circle back to Yannis's question earlier, so a judge can choose to give a defendant probation instead of sentencing them. So that's what happens.
Is that a California state law?
It seems like that's just a law. Instead of sentencing a defendant to a prison term, a judge may choose to sentence a defendant to probation.
Interesting. All right. Well,
so in other words, any crime, you know, like murder,
we'll find out.
I murdered someone. The judge can just say, you know what, I'm just going to get probation for that.
It's typically granted for first-time or low-risk offenders. But, I mean, just the case, from what I was reading, the case was pretty heated. There was, like, the jurors were fighting and stuff like that. And also they brought in her culture and, like, cultural differences played a part in it. But, yeah, it's still some bullshit went on behind the scenes.
We'll find out. We'll find out and follow up with that.
Yeah.
Maybe on the Patreon episode we'll get into that.
Get kicked out.
But before we get kicked out, but that's what started it. So the black community was really boiling over, and like I said, there was video of it, which is what made this different.
Right.
It's like everyone saw it. It was all over the news, so people watched the execution.
Right.
You could see it.
Yeah.
And so the media played a role in stoking these fires, but I'm not going to blame the media because the media did get the word out about what happened. That's another interesting discussion and debate is like, how culpable is the media in fanning these flames, you know, because they did play the Rodney King thing over and over and over. And, you know, like now they kind of, you know, it's almost like they go up and they report more when there's an angle like, hey, was this race or, you know, you don't hear about all the fucking thousands of white kids who get blown away by cops because there's no story there.
Of course.
So the media.
Just like there's no story about, you know, all the stories about ISIS, but way more people get killed in those African nations over that other terrorist group. They kill fucking villages. They burn them alive.
Yeah.
But it's not good for fucking the media to talk about that, so they don't.
Yeah, there's just no story, no juicy story there, I guess, or they don't think that it's going to sell. I don't know what it is, but
it's gross.
Then on the heels of this, and I don't think that this would have happened if it was just one or the other. We never know, but it was boom, boom. It was just sort of like the combined effect of this tragedy and then her getting off, with probation, which is, it's just blowing my mind now that I'm thinking about it. And then, boom, Rodney King happens. So what was the Rodney King incident? Dude was speeding. He had two, I didn't even know this. And that's how wild how the media can kind of manipulate. There was two people in the car with him.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that till now, years later when I was researching.
I know that they say he was drinking and that not that it matters, he had just gotten out of jail or gotten out of jail a year before for armed robbery or something like that.
Yeah, he had robbery, assault. He had a few things. I mean,
but being a black man in the 70s and 80s, like, is all that stuff true? Like, not that it's not true, but like,
probably it's true. He didn't deny any of it. It wasn't like that. It was any part of his defense.
No, but I mean, even you know, I feel like when you look at black people who were like incarcerated in those times, it's like, I'm sure they did the things they did, but it's like you got to look at like what things were like back then. You know, like cops, I'm not saying forced people to do this, but it was just different times where like these people lived in fear of your life. And when you're in fear of your life constantly, you're going to be frustrated and you're going to do something maybe you normally wouldn't do.
Right.
And then you just get labeled as a criminal forever. But it's like really, it's like the society's fault. You know, society made you that way. I believe that a lot.
Probably a little bit of both, maybe. We don't know. It's hard to quantify how much goes in, how much is personal responsibility.
Yeah.
But you're right. It could be he has an assault charge, or maybe he just got into a fight. He's from a neighborhood where you just fight a lot.
Yeah, and Rodney King, you know, on his interviews after when he was still in the hospital in jail, he said this isn't a race thing. He said, I didn't hear the cops say any racial slurs.
Yeah.
He said, we don't want this to be a black versus white. He said, I was just unfairly beaten, which is true.
Right. So they pull him over. They pull him out of the car. They put the other two people in the police cars.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Somehow he's still outside. So there must have been some sort of resisting. There's got to be, because he put the other two, or maybe no. Maybe they just wanted to fucking beat him up because they were pissed, because this followed like a 115-mile-an-hour speed chase for a while on a highway and some residential areas. So, you know, the cops kind of been a little frustrated. And like I said, I remember when I was a kid, I'm not a black kid, you know? Although I look Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
But I'm not a black kid. And I remember the cops, like, we talked about on the cast, like, touching you up a little bit.
Yeah, that's what they would do.
If you frustrated them or they made they had to chase you, there's no question, like you said, those are the type of kids who become cops. They're going to touch you up a little bit.
That's what it is.
They're not scholars.
Right.
They're not gentlemen scholars.
Right.
So perhaps they wanted to touch him up a little bit and things got out of hand. Maybe it was out of hand to begin with. We don't know. All we know is this guy across the street happened to have a camcorder and he started filming it. And this has never really happened before where somebody filmed it. And now it's so commonplace, right? This was like such a just a precursor to the cell phone video and just a harbinger in a lot of ways of things to come, that everything is going to be filmed.
Said harbinger makes
it's a good word.
I instantly want to. I have diarrhea.
Yeah, it's just a good word and good concept.
Harbinger.
Harbinger. You want to fucking punch me in the face, but I'm protected by fucking Trash Monkey, the hyena. So they filmed it. Everyone saw it. I mean, if you're young and you've never heard of this, just go look up the video.
Yeah, Zach
Rodney
wasn't
King.
even born.
Yeah, Zach was not even born for this. Do you even know what we're talking about, or is this the first time you hear it?
I do know what you're talking about.
You've
I
heard
was
of it.
not born. I have heard of it.
Yeah.
But you didn't know all these details and everything, right?
I didn't know that there was actually two people in the car with Rodney King.
And did you know about Latasha?
Not by name, but yeah.
You had known that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, right?
Well, Zach's just a well-informed kid.
He's a well-informed kid. He's he's got to learn a lot about our culture in order to destroy it.
In order to destroy, that's what I was going to say.
So this obviously led to the riots when and then Rodney King, the trial happened. They moved the trial from L.A. because they thought about media bias, but they moved it to like a white suburb.
Simi Valley, which is 88% white.
It's basically like moving it to Bay Ridge,
Yes,
where all the retired cops live.
Yeah, it's white.
It's like saying, we're going to give these white officers a fair trial. Let's move this trial to Staten Island.
Yeah, make no mistake, if you are a white person and you kill anybody from any race in Bay Ridge and you go to court in Bay Ridge, the person who you killed's family will go to jail. You're not going to jail.
It is what it is.
That's the kind of neighborhood and community Bay Ridge and Staten Island are. They protect the whites.
It's just what it is.
Yeah, so that's what Simi Valley was, but probably actually even more. And obviously, we're just joking. Wei Shanxian. We're just kidding about all that. But the Simi Valley trial, it was convenient for the police to say, oh yeah, we have to move it because of media bias or the safety of the officers. But we all know why they did it. They were going to get the jurors they wanted in there.
There's no question that the race of the juries was going to determine this outcome.
Was it 12 whites on the jury?
It was 12. I think it was 10 whites, 1 Hispanic, 1 Asian. Zach can double check.
No blacks.
The jury. There was no blacks.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, of course.
That's an easy one to remember. There was no blacks, and I think it's 1 Hispanic, maybe 1 Asian or something like that.
Brutal.
But there's no question at that time there was no objectivity. That's why O.J. Simpson got off. I mean, you even look at the interviews with the jurors now. They're like, you know what? It is what it is. All the times that black people were unjustly accused of things, incarcerated for things, this was our time to flip it on you and say, fuck your justice system. This is payback.
Right.
So at that time, tensions, like I said, the zeitgeist of the time was that tensions were so high that it was just everything. The way things are split on party lines now, left, far right. Back then it was like white or black.
Right.
It was like if you were black, you wanted OJ free, regardless if you thought he did it or not.
Right.
You just wanted him free. And if you were white, you were just like, this isn't fair. He killed a white woman, and you just wanted him in jail.
Right.
And with the LA riots, same thing. I mean, with the Rodney King, preceding the LA riots, most white people were like, we don't have the full story. What happened? And then black people were like, we have a video. So then the cops get off. All of them innocent. They later got convicted by the Justice Department federally. I think they all got convicted of violating Rodney King's civil rights. So they got convicted. They had to do some time or whatever. A lot of them fired. I don't know what they're doing now. They were no longer cops after this. None of them.
Right.
But the state, they all got off. It was one of those verdicts like O.J. Simpson where the whole country was tuned in.
Right. You remember this.
The whole country for the O.J. Simpson verdict and the Rodney King verdict, everyone was just knew when it was happening. This was tune-in TV and was just sitting by a TV waiting to hear it. And everyone was nervous, man, because you kind of knew what was going to happen.
Do you remember where you were?
I remember exactly where I was.
Do you remember what turtleneck you had on?
I don't remember the turtleneck, but I think I just got a blowy from my ex. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Never. What are you talking about? Yo, cuz, we have to edit this part out.
What?
Zach, we have to edit
it. What it is.
That you went.
Zach, we have to fucking edit this part out. Like, seriously, he's just going way wild. Can we take that out?
It's what it is.
Too far.
Yannis jerks off to tranny porn.
All this has got to go because it's all lies and he's just doing it for a rise. Yeah. Can you shut up now?
Yeah, finish it because I want my Patreon members and then get kicked out by Amy Schumer.
So,
you were right on the money with the jury, by the way. It was a Filipino woman, a Hispanic, and the rest were white.
Unbelievable. And so
sick. It's actually gross.
So everyone was tuning in. Like I said, the whole country was tuning in. And so black people saw again with the video. I think the video had a lot to do with it because they're saying, what more do you need? What more evidence? We all watched the ass beating.
A 15-year-old, one of our girls gets shot in the back of the head. We watched this guy been beaten to an inch of his fucking life.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Not for no reason, but not necessary force.
I mean, way unnecessary.
Way
when you watch the
force.
video now, you're just going like, come on, you guys could have dealt with this a little easier.
Yeah.
You're like, you were in fear for your life. Were you really?
There were seven of you with sticks.
Yeah, it was police brutality is what it was. That's just what it was. It was police brutality.
And I'm sure, I am positive that people have been beaten 1,000 times worse than Rodney King. It was just never caught on tape.
Right. So it started with protests. Went down to City Hall, downtown LA, started protesting at the police station, and then it just boiled over. And in Watts and in Compton, it just started slowly, where white dudes were they started being targeted. At red lights at intersections, they would just pull you out of the car and just beat you up.
Reginald Denny, right?
Reginald Denny was the famous one, but it happened to a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of injuries, a lot of unreported injuries. People started rioting. This was full-on race riots. They started targeting non-black businesses. Once in a while, it got so wild, they even targeted black businesses. Started lighting fires everywhere, setting stores on fire, setting the palm trees on fire, setting cars on fire, flipping cars. It was chaos.
How long were the riots in '92? Do you remember? Was it like a month?
No, not that long.
It was like a couple of days.
But they let it go for a couple days, and it was a big controversy in why they didn't stop it, why they didn't deploy the cops. And that's an interesting thing. Like, were they letting it just happen, letting people get the anger out because they figured, like, as long as we contain it to their own neighborhoods, because it really just happened in predominantly black and Hispanic neighborhoods. But like most things, as the rioting went on, the common theme I see in history is whenever there's a movement, and after that movement has kind of passed, it becomes disingenuous and just ends in like a pile of disingenuous dog shit and chaos.
Right.
It's like the hippies turned into yippies, and like even now you see like a lot of good like justice stuff from the left has just turned into far left nonsense. And the riots towards the end, it was just like people were just rioting not for any reason. They just wanted free shit, and they were looting stores, and it was just mayhem, and it was just they were looting because they can, and they knew that the cops weren't going to be able to arrest any one person because it's like that flash mob robbery type of thing. There's just too many people. You can't. When the cops finally did show up, they just tried to chase people off. They didn't arrest anyone because there's too many people to arrest.
Yeah.
So it took a while for the National Guard. Finally, the National Guard. When did it end, ISIS? May something?
It was a 6-day period.
6 days. Finally, the National Guard. I think one regiment of the Marines, right? I mean, this is crazy when you think about it
the
now.
7th Infantry Division and the 1st Marine Division.
How wild is that? Infantry, the Army, and the Marines, and the National Guard had to be called in.
They had to call in the boys.
They had to call in the boys to keep the peace again. And the Koreans started arming themselves. There's tons of video footage of Koreans having shootouts with whomever else because the cameras were only on the Koreans. These guys had fucking semi-automatic weapons. They had handguns, and they had bulletproof vests on. They were trying to protect their stores because they were being targeted. So
Wild, cuz.
it was huge racial tension, and finally calmed down. And then Rodney King got on TV and gave his famous "Can't we all just get along?" which was mocked endlessly as a joke on comedy shows and by comedians. It became one of the most mocked things, which I guess that's when you deal with the way we deal with tragedy as a society is make fun. I don't know. That seems weird now. That like, can we all just get along? Do you remember that?
Of course, yeah.
Every comedian did like an impersonation of that.
I know.
Like making fun of Rodney King, crying.
Did black comedians do it too, or just white? Arsenio?
No, it was like almost predominantly black comedians.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on Living Color and Can't We All Just Get Along? It just became like this huge joke.
Is Rodney King still alive?
Rodney King is still alive, yeah.
Nice.
Rodney King's all still alive.
Do you think he wants to join the matriarchy?
Probably. I want to know about that judge. I want to know how she was able to continue because I know
She didn't have fumes.
She looked like she had no fumes.
Yeah.
But they tried to get her fired, whatever, removed, didn't work. So it was just the black community got frustrated and this boiled over. And believe it or not, man, I know there's a lot of racial tension stuff, but I remember what it felt like back then.
Right.
And, you know, it's recently, these same issues have popped up now and have been dominating the headlines. And those issues from the 90s had happened before in like the 50s.
Right.
In LA, there was riots. And like you said, the 70s in other places and in Watts. So it's like, it's an ongoing issue and it's dominated the headlines for the past couple of years. But I do think race relations have gotten miles and miles and miles and miles and miles better, especially between blacks and whites. The police brutality issue, you know, that seems to be something that where there's still a problem, and a lot of the problems that cause that may be more than race. Like you said, it could be a lot of these guys who just don't have the brightest IQs. They're
frustrated,
trained, crime, guns on the street, fear, whatever it is.
Well,
But
Before we get into the Patreon shout-outs, I just want to correct Yannis. Rodney King did pass away in 2012.
holy shit,
Oh, shit.
recently.
how did he pass away?
How did he like that? Wasn't even big news.
Alcohol intoxication.
All right,
What do you
kid
mean?
you like to have a few bros.
But after you get beat up like that, I mean, you're gonna have a few brews.
You're gonna have a few bros.
What does that mean? Dying of alcohol? Like you died of alcohol poisoning?
It means
I
probably
assume
drank
so,
himself to death.
Yeah. Something
Well,
alcohol
I'm
related.
sure what happened in his life had something to do with that.
Probably. But I
fucking
think he
brutal.
was a little bit of a boozer beforehand too.
It's what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, sometimes you need a fucking few brews to get through this life.
Kid like to have a few brews.
Thank you guys so much.
VH1 should do a Where Are They Now of the Rodney King. Just like you find out. You remember those shows? Where Are They
Yeah,
Now?
yeah.
Just do all the main players.
Yo, all right. So thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you. You know, of course, always thank you so much to people who already joined the matriarchy. As always, when you go to patreon.com/Bay Ridge Boys and join the matriarchy and donate to the fucking pseudo penises that we are, we read your name out loud on the podcast, and Yannis guesses your ethnicity. So here we go. First up, newest member to the matriarchy, J. Rohn, Rhone.
We got a lot of. I'm just guessing black kid.
Black. Okay. K. Nelson.
Another black kid.
Okay. Adrian Martinez.
Is he German?
German. John Cloak.
John Cloak. Wow, that's it sounds like a fucking character in Game of Thrones.
Roki Moroki.
Moki-
Is that a Chinese? Is that a Japanese?
Roki-
Roki Moroki?
Well, and
Could he be from Japan?
was he trying to say Loki? Loki, and it came out Roki?
No, it's a it's a Moki.
Can I get a Wei Shangxing, please?
Wei Songxian.
Thank you.
Roki Moroki.
And then he needs one there too.
Wei Songxian.
Marilyn Mano.
Marilyn Mano, I know who that is. Thank you, Marilyn Mano, for joining the matriarchy. She is half Greek, half Italian, if I remember. Oh, no, half Greek, half Cuban.
Cute. Next up, we have Gatito, the big homie.
I'm going to go with he's another Latino.
Gatito. Now, next we have this sounds like he's just going to be a high pick in the draft. Clay Anthony.
I have no further comment on that one.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's a nationally ranked player.
Yeah, Clay Anthony. Then we have Julian Nunez.
Julian Nunez, he also sounds like he's in someone's farm system.
Yes, second base. Leslie Pento.
Leslie Penta, that's another Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican,
Or
yes.
Dominican.
Oh, how about this? Daniel Ward.
Oh, wow, that's as white as it gets.
He is black.
Is he black?
He's got a picture. He put his picture.
Wow.
Daniel Ward. Thank you. You are off today.
That sounded like an American colonial name.
Daniel Ward. And Daniel Ward also is a $10 member. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Joel Nunez.
Dude, we got the whole St. Louis Cardinals farm system.
Yes. Tom Doland.
White Irish kid.
White.
Likes to have a few bros.
Spencer Bagley.
That's a baseball kid.
And then
White kid.
for $25, and she does look like a piece, Carolyn McNamara.
That is an Irish piece
And
with
she's
fumes.
We're going to call Caroline right now. Do you have her number, Zach?
Yes,
Call
I
her. McNamara is getting a call because what happens when you get $25, when you join up for $25, we call you live on the pod, and it's what we're doing now.
Because make no mistake, we have one of the most diverse fan bases, and I'm proud of that.
We
I'm
seriously
fucking
do.
proud of that.
It's fucking cute.
And we don't try. We're not trying. We're not
No.
trying.
No.
We're not trying to force it. We're just two good-hearted kids who are cute.
Cute. We're calling Carolyn McNamara.
Cuz, don't ask her to DM you. I mean, guys, if you set it up with our producer, be home.
Hello?
Be available.
Hello.
Hi. Is this Carolyn McNamara?
It is.
This is Chrissy Cavanaugh. And Yannis Dr. Ford
That's
Pappas.
can
from the
I
History
get a Wei
Hyenas.
Zhongjing for him for this?
Wei Song-Xian.
Yeah, no, that is Chrissy Salmons, and I am Peanut Head Pappas.
Yeah, so we are calling you live on the History Hyenas because you joined up for $25 to thank you, and your profile picture, you look yeah.
And you're probably going to listen to this later, and your friends are going to hear it, and you're going to hear what we said right before, and we both said, you sound like a piece.
What? That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself. Where are you from, Carolyn?
I'm from Rhode Island, but I currently go to school in New Hampshire to be an occupational therapist.
Occupational
Oh my
therapist.
God.
I used to be a physical therapist.
I know. I listened all about it.
Oh, my God. What school do you go to in New Hampshire?
UNH.
Oh, UNH. Great school. Concord, right?
Durham.
I'm an idiot. I know the capital of Rhode Island, though, is Providence.
Yes, it is.
I think
I live right near there, too.
Really?
anywhere you live in Rhode Island is basically right outside Providence.
Do you know Rhode
It's a
Island?
small state.
Do you know Rhode Island because your state motto is live free or die? You guys can't get seatbelt tickets because it's like you don't have to wear your seatbelts.
It's so true.
I know.
Wait a second. That's
Fuck,
true?
That's true. Yeah, because they're all
It is
about like
true, yeah.
freedom. Yeah, so it's like if you want to kill yourself because you're not wearing a seatbelt, like it's up to you. You can live free. You only get in trouble if like you're doing something like you can't be on your cell phone because that could kill somebody else. But a seatbelt's like
You're going to kill
Exactly.
yourself.
yeah, just want to kill, just whatever you want to do, dude.
So you're basically telling me Rhode Island has your nickname. It's Rhode Island fucking go.
Yeah, Rhode Island, go. You
That's
just go.
Yeah. Chrissy go, Rhode Island go.
What are you doing today, Caroline?
My roommate and I had class all day, and
Cute.
now we're just making dinner, getting my dog all settled.
What
Usual.
time? What time are you guys going to protest?
We're way too lazy to protest, so not
Yeah.
tonight.
How many? What's your Snapchat filter of the day today?
I actually don't do Snapchat filters.
She is not a typical millennial.
No, I like her a
She's
lot.
getting dinner ready and walking the dog. She does the chores around the house. She sounds like a nice broad.
Yeah, sounds like a. How old are you, Caroline?
I actually clean houses. I'm 23.
23. I'm 34. I smell a connection.
That would be like a life dream of mine.
Yes. Wow.
Now, how much of a cute kid is Chrissy D? Is he as cute as my pop says he is? He can't help
Yo!
He can't help but be handsome, right?
Very handsome. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And you know what? An 11-year age gap between us, it's not that bad because Yannis is 60 years older than his fiance.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That's actually not bad.
Oh,
I mean, when you're older.
I think only a 23-year-old would actually believe that was an earnest statement. He's
She's like-
60. He's like, "What? Are you really 60?"
I know because she's still 23, even
No,
though she's
no,
like
I
cool.
know. You're in like your 40s, right?
She's still like so politically correct. She's like, you know what? If that's like your truth, and
I'm
your
not trying to be
experience,
ageist.
I'm not want to be ageist. Like, but if you want to be 6 years older, then like that's fine. Like, I feel like you just like look inside yourself and like examine who you are. It's great.
You guys, where's your apartment that you live in? Is it in Providence?
Wow, that's a creepy question.
No, so we're in New Hampshire for school. So we live in a town called Newmarket, which is like a super hippity dippity kind of town.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna come to that. I think I've been to UNH before. TBH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New Hampshire's an interesting state because it's very country and they hunt, but they're also like very hacky sack Bernie Sanders.
No, New Hampshire is Republican.
No, that's Bernie Sanders.
No, Bernie Sanders is Vermont. You fucking dummy.
I'm a fucking. I just am a fucking idiot.
You're a dum dum.
Can we just Wei Zhongjing out my existence?
Wei Song-Xian.
New Hampshire votes Republican. Hello.
Fuck, I was
if anybody
wrong.
knows, it's Chrissy Kavanaugh.
I can't believe I just mixed those two up. I'm a fucking idiot.
We have early onset dementia.
Franks
Now,
and Bates.
Caroline, before we let you go, we just really want to say thank you for everything. And if you're ever in New York, we're going to be doing live shows soon, so you should come. Do you ever come to New York?
I've actually been to New York like once.
Oh, my God. So you were going to come, and you're going to come on a history tour with me and Yanni P.
That'll be dope.
That would be like a peak moment in my life. So
Would
Yeah.
you want to
would
do
be kinda
that?
cool.
Would you come on a history tour with
Yes.
us?
Yes.
Awesome.
Now, let me ask you a question real quick, because you're 23, and also Zach Isis is 23, and he passed me a note that he said he thinks you're cute. Would you be willing to convert to Islam and just make Allah your one true God and not only show your eyes in public and make him?
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is I'm from a military family, and my sister just got back from overseas.
Yeah, killing sex. Yeah. So that's
what it
But
is.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
So your sister is one of the boys.
Your sister's one of the boys.
It's awesome.
And I was listening to you guys' podcast when you went to Gettysburg,
Yeah.
and my dad actually does history tours at Gettysburg. He's a huge history buff dude.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a
Yeah.
question, Caroline?
Is your dad single?
Yeah.
No, him and my mom are still together.
He must have a nice piece.
Is your dad willing to get a phone call from the boys on this cast to talk Gettysburg? Can we call him up, Cussy?
You totally could.
Okay, so now that you're a valued member of our Patreon, $25 valued member, just send us his phone number. We were going to call him on the next podcast. Because now you have to understand, because you're in at $25 a month, which, by the way, you being a college student doesn't make sense, and I bet Daddy is paying for it anyway.
No, he's not.
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, Beyonce.
Tell her, girl. You got a
I'm
fucking
a
job.
fucking independent woman.
Yeah, and don't let this fucking patriarch judge you.
Yeah, I don't even like the name Patreon because it sounds like patriarch. Ew.
Yeah, I don't need a fucking guy to pay for me. I don't care if he is my father. I don't need any straight white males to pay for me. I pay for my fucking self.
Yes.
We love you.
We love you so much. Yeah, so we're definitely going to call him, and we really appreciate you being part of the matriarchy, truthfully.
Is there anyone you want to say hello to? Because there's millions and millions of people who listen. You want to say something? Promote something? You got a book coming out?
I don't think so. I'm like in a panic mode. I don't know.
All right, well.
Maybe my roommate?
Is your roommate a member of the matriarchy?
She's not, and she doesn't
Then
even
she's a
listen
two.
to the podcast.
Well, tell her, did she at least listen to the cast?
Well, she'll listen to this episode maybe, but like I've gotten literally like my entire family to listen to it. So
You're
I'm
the
hoping
best.
to
Appreciate
kinda
it. Thank you so
persuade her.
much. Is your dad listening to it?
Yeah, he does.
That's
Wow,
amazing.
that's amazing.
He probably gets pissed off because sometimes we have wrong history facts.
A lot of the time.
No, he literally just rolls his eyes at me. Whatever, my newest trend of a hobby.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
you are
All right.
you are one of our exclusive matriarchy members, and we really appreciate you joining. We hope you're enjoying the Patreon. You enjoying the bonus episodes and everything?
I am.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Go get back to cooking your dinner, whatever it is, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Send us your dad's number. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, she was great.
Love her.
See, it's a great idea. We got a few more to call, and
Yeah.
we'll get to them next episode.
And
I
we'll get
guess.
to the next episode. And if you guys want to see us perform live, you can check out all my shows at chrisdcomedy.com. I got dates coming up in Houston, Texas, and New York City.
YannisPappas.net. Follow us on Instagram,
Three
History.
hyenas.
Yeah.
And go to patreon.com/BayRichBoys and be part of the matriarchy. And maybe we could call you too. Keep your pseudo penises in the air. I'm fucking gay.